Welcome to Foosball, where every contract has been restructured. Neckbeard's getting paid only in pesos, and Chief Greengrass only in bottle caps.
Kick ass.
More arrowheads. I don't know. Whatever he figured.
Yeah, with the exchange rate these days, those pesos are worth a lot more than you think. So,
Oh yeah,
Those actually, that's
I'll
right.
take it.
That's right. This episode, we're talking about Jaire Alexander from the Green Bay Packers, who just got cut today. It's a post June 1st cut, which benefited the Packers so they can move cap space around and everything. It seems like this was the plan maybe the whole time to cut him right now before camp, because if he shows up and he practices at all, he can get hurt again, and then they have to pay the whole contract. He still could have shown up, and then they could tell him, like, hey, don't practice, just hang out. But it just seemed like this is kind of what everybody wanted at the end. They sort of tried to make it work. Sort of. That's what's going on now. There's many different reports, but we are going to talk about this today. And okay, so guys, when you heard the news today, Neckbeard, when you first heard the news of what was going on, what was your first reaction? What was your first thoughts?
I was massively disappointed that we ended up cutting him, because I would have rather just kept him on the team for this year. Like, we have cap space, right? And I understand why the Packers wanted him to restructure. He's only played 50% of the games. And from what we're hearing, right, they wanted him to restructure what was incentive based. And he's like, nope, I just want to get paid my full amount. I don't want to get restructured for incentives.
Or at least a large amount he wanted to be guaranteed.
Yeah. So I don't blame the Packers, but we're basically giving up an all-pro cornerback for nothing to save some money, right? When what's our biggest position of need right now? I'd say cornerback.
Yeah.
Because, and, Murphy said we're used to playing without him. We're used to playing without him. But, why not let him play this year? And then maybe you can trade him with a year left on his contract if he is healthy and get something out of him.
Do you think the Packers think he might just never be able to get healthy? He's been like 4 years now.
Yeah, three of the last 4 years, he's missed 10 or more games. I mean, it's ridiculous, the amount of games that he's missed and the amount of money that he made. So, like, I get where the Packers are coming from. But now, you know what's going to happen? He's going to sign somewhere on a 1 or 2 year deal, and he's going to play all the games, and he's going to be fantastic. Because when he's on the field, he's great. It's just he's not on the field ever.
The Packers have a tradition of cutting guys before, like a year before they maybe should have, instead of like a year later, right? Of being a little bit early. And most of the time they've been correct. Like most of the time, not every time, right?
Yeah.
So maybe, and that's the thing is, we were thinking this might be the time that it nips him in the bud, because even though he's been hurt a lot, his playoff, as we see here, he in the last 4 years or so, his playoff play has been perfect. He's allowed only 3 yards in the playoffs total in his 0 passer rating, right? So,
he missed the playoffs last year, though. He didn't even play last year in the Philadelphia game.
That's right. He didn't even play last year.
It's all history. It's it's kind of it's like the Bakhtiari situation again for Packers fans. We have like a top 3 talent at a position, or top 5, let's say. I think Jaire is
an elite talent, or
elite talent. You give him, you make him one of the highest paid in the league, and then all of a sudden they don't play anymore. And Bakhtiari's was obviously worse injury, multiple surgeries, but Jaire, I think, got to the point where I feel like the team, he was playing it cautious, and the team wanted him to play, and he didn't want to play. And they're like, okay, if that's your attitude,
I don't know if his injury was I think his injury was just as bad as Bakhtiari. He had to have surgery in the offseason, and I think he had bad back problems too.
He's got 3 different surgeries in 3 different areas. So he's definitely injury prone. But there was some word coming out of Packers camp that they were not happy that he wasn't playing at the end of the year last year. They were not happy. Like, there was, you're supposed to play hurt, not injured, right? That's the old NFL moniker: play hurt, don't play injured. And Jaire didn't play either, to be honest.
Well,
he didn't play much at all.
Medical, right?
Yeah.
But this is my thing. From watching him play on the field with my eyes, he was often out there playing hurt and looking slow.
Yeah.
Like he looked worse than the other cornerbacks as far as like his whatever. And I think that my personal opinion is, watching with my eyes, he's probably thinking like, hey, if I go out there with these injuries and this whatever's going on here, I'm going to be a liability more than a help to the team. And he just didn't want to play.
No, he did not think that. No way. He was not thinking he was a liability. He's trying to.
He had literally like 4 injuries he was dealing with at the same time.
Yeah, but he's got to protect his family and his future. He doesn't want to go out and aggravate an injury and not get paid or get cut.
That's what I'm saying. Like, one false move and all of a sudden he's injured just again. And
Yeah, no, and
It's a tough
so
situation.
he got cut. He got paid some money. He's going to get signed. He's good enough to where he's going to get signed. It's probably going to happen in the next 2 weeks. I just hope it's not in the division, which seems to be, plausible, or in the NFC if possible. But, trade him for a 5th-round pick. And it sounds like a lot of the teams that wanted to trade for Jaire pretty much hung up the phone once they found out that he didn't want to restructure his contract. So, every team has seen his injury history and doesn't want to pay him $24 million a year plus over the next 2 years. They wanted to give him incentive-based contracts as well. And it sounds like his agent or him are not into that. And I think that has a lot to do with his injury history and him trying to protect himself, saying, hey, even if I do get injured, I want to get paid. But it might get to the point where, if he gets a contract this year and he gets injured again, that might be his last contract, and he might know that.
Also the trend, and the Packers have had this trend already, but the trend in the NFL seems to be a little bit more where they're don't want to pay older players. They want to get younger. I think it's just a trend in the NFL right now too.
He's older for a cornerback, but he's not old. He's
right.
Just,
well, I mean, with his injury history, you got to figure that in. It might have accelerated that a lot.
Yeah, I think he's way less aggressive than he used to be. That's for sure.
Yeah, because he's still only 28. A cornerback can still be good, in their early 30s.
Yeah, 31-ish is kind of when most cornerbacks, you see the difference. Patrick Peterson and a couple other guys made it a little bit longer. Rod Woodson played till he was 72, I believe. So Rod Woodson played forever.
Jaire had a shoulder injury issue. He had back problems, and he had his knee and his legs messed up. Literally his entire body, other than maybe his head.
I 100% understand where the Packers are coming from. I do not blame the Packers at all for trying to do this. I wish it would have worked out, because now I just know he's going to go be healthy and play for a team that
just
us in the playoffs or something,
Yeah.
And because I was shouting before the draft that we needed cornerbacks, even with Jaire, we needed cornerbacks, and we didn't address the need. We did sign Nate Hobbs, which I like. But when Mark Murphy says that we're expecting big things from Keyshawn Nixon, I threw up in my mouth. I literally threw up in my mouth, because if that's what you're hoping for, Keyshawn Nixon to take a step forward and be a top tier cornerback, boy, are you going to be disappointed.
Derek, you're not the only person to think that. Dave and I were at the draft in person, standing there watching. And Dave, you remember in the second round when they picked a tackle, the crowd kind of was just like, huh? And they started leaving. They were pissed. Because, right, Dave, there was a lot of cornerbacks on that board.
A lot of cornerbacks available. Yep.
And we were like, yes, they're going to get a top tier cornerback now, a guy that can be a cornerback 1. And then everyone's like, what?
Yeah.
Didn't we just pick a tackle last year in the first round?
We sure did. And we got Zach Tom, who's an also amazing tackle, who we should hopefully re-sign now that we got more cap space, right? And
Dave, were you shocked when they didn't pick a cornerback?
Oh, very much so. Because, offensive line, it's fairly deep for them. You can't have enough cornerbacks. You can't have enough DBs. You loaded up on safeties last year in the draft.
Yeah.
Would have been a good year to get a corner, and unfortunately they just too much faith in what's already there, and it's not much there.
Yeah. I mean, I think Gutekunst is smart, but I think he gets in his own head. I think the Packers think they're smarter than they are sometimes. And if you look at the Packers roster, if I had to pick 3 positions that I was the least worried about, I would say quarterback. Obviously, don't draft a quarterback, right? It's, Love isn't old enough to be traded to the Jets yet. And then I would say offensive line was my second least worry, and then probably wide receiver after that. I would say my number 1 worry was cornerback, and my number 2 worry was defensive line, and we waited until the 4th to get defensive line, and then we didn't address cornerback. We went wide receiver, tackle, wide receiver, and it's like, okay, now for next year we're going to have to fill these positions because we didn't do anything to address cornerback. So I think that's the thing that hurts the most, guys. If we would have gotten a cornerback in the 2nd round and the 4th, I was expecting Goody to double up on corner. I'm being 100% honest here. The fact that we didn't address it at all makes this hurt, but I think the Packers still ultimately made the right decision if he wasn't going to restructure to just cut ties and move on. Right.
Do you think that part of this might have been because they actually think Kalen King, the guy that's on their bench, who, remember, he was somebody that was going to be a 1st-round pick, and then he dropped.
Man, that's some dude, you're talking like a Bear fan. We are not expecting a 7th-round pick to save the team. Please don't do that.
Manunga is going to be amazing.
Knock it off for your own good. Knock it off. All right. What I will say though is that, remember, we picked Bullard as a cornerback. Yes, he's a nickel, but I'd like to see more out of Javon Bullard. I think he's a very talented.
He did a bad job covering last year.
Yes, he did.
Ratings were terrible. He
know who else
cannot
is
play
terrible?
quarterback. He's a
Keyshawn Nixon.
tackling guy, and that's it.
Yeah, I think he'll be better. Listen, I'm not relying on Keyshawn Nixon to be cornerback number 2. And God forbid Hobbs gets injured. If Hobbs gets injured, we have the worst cornerback room in the entire NFL. Period.
Dude,
Hands
all
down.
those cornerbacks we have that aren't very good were way better than Bullard at coverage. Like Bullard was like the dumpster in coverage last year.
But if you look at his actual stats, the first 11 weeks were horrible, and the last 6 or 7 weeks he improved a lot. So it's his rookie year. Like I've seen 3.5 years of Keyshawn Nixon not covering anybody. So like I'm not gonna say Keyshawn's gonna take a step forward before Bullard. Like no way. I don't think Bullard's gonna necessarily be the answer, but I definitely don't believe.
I don't think he
Keyshawn
has
Nixon.
the physical tools to be able to cover. I think he's just a safety guy.
I would take Valentine over both of them right now, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
Like I think Valentine's halfway decent. Like I think he's halfway decent.
He is all right.
He should be your 3rd or 4th cornerback in a good cornerback room, which he was technically when Jaire was healthy 2 years ago. But yeah, so we got Hobbs the number 1 now. He's got an injury history. We got Keyshawn Nixon, who just gets on my nerves sometimes with the way he covers and makes mistakes. Then we got Bullard, who had a lot of issues covering last year, and we got Valentine, who's decent, but can also get torched from time to time. So we're going to play a lot of zone, guys. It is what it is.
The defense wasn't bad last year, but we want them to be really good. They were just like, okay.
Yeah. Well, our 2 biggest problems, even though our defense was good last year, Doug, our 2 biggest problems were pass rush, right? And pass catching. So we got Golden, so that should help the pass catching. The pass rush, do you know what helps your pass rush the most? Good coverage. Do you know what helps good coverage? Cornerbacks. And we don't have a lot of them, and it's going to be rough. I'm telling you right now, any Super Bowl aspirations that I had, which were minimal.
Rest on Rasul Douglas.
I don't think we can hang with any of these high level offenses in the NFL right now. Not with our cornerback room.
Do you think that they might go for a Rasul Douglas or some like?
I would love to see Rasul come back to
like
town.
a zone coverage guy, play some zone.
Yeah,
because it's really hard to find man-to-man corners.
It is. No, fair enough. It is. And Jaire's a very good one, by the way, which sucks that he was hurt. But we're going to play a lot of zone. Luckily, we got 2 really good safeties, right? Luckily, we got some pretty good linebackers, right? And, hopefully the defensive line makes a difference this year. I mean, we'll see. But I'm really worried about our pass coverage if we get a couple injuries. I'm really worried. Like, if God forbid Xavier McKinney goes down or, Evan Williams or Nate Hobbs, like, we don't have a lot back there to offer if anybody gets hurt. And I know most teams are thin at safety, but cornerback, you usually want to have 4 guys that can play.
Evan Williams was hurt a lot last year. It'll be nice if he can stay healthy the whole season.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm disappointed, but I understand. I just really hope Jaire signs with a team that is in the AFC or not in the NFC North,
Dave, as a Bears fan, where do you think Jaire might go? Do you think he's going to stay inside the division here?
If I was him, if I wanted to get a ring, I don't go to the AFC. It's too tough.
Yeah.
I think I just play it safe and I just go to Eagles. They know how to play. If they don't necessarily need them. They got a great defensive minded coach. You have 2 good corners there. You got safety.
Situation where, like, as an injury player, he only plays half the games. It's not a big deal for them.
And yeah, it's a slam dunk for them if they don't.
They could keep him healthy until the postseason.
Oh yeah.
And hey, that might have been Jaire's thing. Remember those games he didn't want to play? Maybe he's just like, I'm not healthy enough. I want to be healthy for the postseason, and then he ended up not being. But like,
and then the Eagles can say, okay, don't worry, we got you. He'd be pretty handy. He'd be able to keep them fresh. The Lions make a lot of sense. They have some pretty good young corners. He could kind of be a leader there, but unfortunately, his mentality isn't that of a leader. He's kind of a bonehead. No. He's an uber talented bonehead, but he goes out to Carolina to do the coin flip.
Yeah,
he's trying to be a leader in a bonehead way that doesn't really always work. It works like
he's physically gifted, but he's not a leader, man, and that's nothing wrong with that. Very very few truly are.
Yeah,
and it's just like, thanks, we appreciate you. You go off and you do your island. Him shutting down Justin Jefferson the way that he has.
Yeah.
Whenever they play,
like when no one else could. Yeah.
Yeah, he in 2020, Jefferson went 2 receptions on 3 targets. He went 3 receptions on 4 targets, and those are just 2 of the games. In 2023, New Year's Day, 1 reception on 5 targets. It's what he's been able to do to Justin Jefferson, nobody else can do. And I would always be over at the in-laws' house, and it's all Vikings fans. And it was a beautiful thing.
Well, I'll tell you this: paying attention
fun to
heavily
hear.
paying attention heavily to the Green Bay Packers reporting. Every training camp, you would and practices, you would hear feedback from like what's happening. And for a while, up until Jaire started getting really hurt, he literally could lock down everybody. It didn't matter who you were not getting a catch on him in practice, or a game. And then he started getting hurt, and then you started hearing that like Romeo Doubs could just school him in practice. So this is the reasoning in my head where I'm like, if you're an elite, like maybe the best corner in the league, and all of a sudden any dude on the team can just beat you, you're just like, dude, I shouldn't be on the field. I need to heal and get back to being like myself, right? Otherwise, he's like, why? You know what I mean? Like, I'm just a scrub now. It's probably what he's thinking. And when you go from dominating everyone in practice to anyone can just get open on you, that's just
I just love hearing a Packers fan say, if Romeo Doubs can beat you, anyone can beat you.
I mean,
this is my favorite episode so far. I'm just loving it.
He's not a bad receiver, but it's just like, it's not like Devontae getting open on you, right? It's not like an all-pro guy.
It's not JJ. Honestly, this is why the Vikings should go get him, so he can't cover JJ. Because if Detroit gets him or Philadelphia gets him, right? That's bad for.
I 100% think he's going to the Vikings. I'll put money on it right now. I'll bet $20 that he's.
I'm guessing that Aaron Jones already called him this morning and was like, "Hey, you're coming over here."
I got $20 anybody for anybody, like right here.
But here's the thing about
say, "Hey, you want a necklace?"
Yeah. Here's the thing though about Jaire. If he's not going to restructure with the Packers, and the Packers are probably willing to offer him a little bit more money than some other teams, I think Jaire is going to want a 2 or 3 year deal, and he's going to want guaranteed money. So I don't see a franchise like Philadelphia taking that risk. They got a lot of guys they got to sign.
It's going to be a desperate team.
Yeah, they got a lot of guys they got to sign. I can see Carolina.
Philly can give him a prove-it contract.
I mean, if he wants, but again, what was I saying before? He's worried that he has 1 contract left because of his injury history. Why would he sign a 1 year deal if he can get a 3 year deal? He's going to want a 3 year deal. So I feel like Carolina, maybe Miami, maybe the Dolphins, or sorry, maybe the Vikings, maybe the Falcons will give him like a 2 year deal with a void year, right? Or a 3rd option year or something like that.
There's a lot of teams. There's like 10, 15 teams that have cap space for him.
Yeah, I was gonna say if he was willing to sign a prove-it deal, he would have stayed with the Packers.
He could play with the Commanders, the Chargers, the Bengals. The Bengals need defense really bad. He could go there.
Dude, with his injury history, he's gonna want a 3 year contract. I'm telling you that right now.
The Bengals might be dumb enough to give him it
with an option.
They might.
I mean, the Bills are desperate to beat the Chiefs. If you're playing Patrick Mahomes and you got Jaire locking down their number 1, if he's healthy, that's a huge advantage for you. That's a huge advantage.
It's a game changer, really, is what it is.
I think man-to-man coverage, he's one of the best in the NFL. But when you play 27 games out of 54,
he's good at zone too. He's good at everything.
Yeah.
So, I'm looking at cap space, and there's a lot of teams that have cap space. The Patriots, Niners, and Lions are at the top, and the Jets and Raiders. I mean,
so the real question is going to be: does Jaire take a shorter contract with a contender or a longer contract with a team that's desperate to win?
Do the Steelers need a cornerback? They have tons of cap space too. I mean, there's a lot.
Maybe the Steelers. I think Carolina's in play because he's from there, and they definitely need a corner, and they definitely got
his agent might have sat him down and been like, "Look, there's 15 teams with like 30 million in cap space that could sign you right now," and he's like, "Let's just go try this and see what happens." And Jaire might have been like, "All right, dude." Like,
I don't think he's signing any prove-it deals anywhere. I will be very shocked if he does that. I think he's looking for minimum 2.
He wants 2 years, and he wants like a decent amount,
and he wants all guaranteed money. No,
pretend you're Jaire and I'm your agent. I'm like, okay, Jaire, what is the minimum amount of guaranteed money you need in your contract? Is it like 13 million? Is it 17?
17. I'd say 17 or 18 is the minimum.
You need 17 or 18, like
I go 18 over 3 years, or I'd go 22 over 2 years, right? Or something around there. 21, 22 over 2 years.
You mean total or per year?
Per year. Per year.
Okay.
Per year.
I'm saying each year. I'm like, you need like 12, 15, 17, like per year.
Yeah, 17 per year is my minimum. 22 is what I'm really looking for.
You're looking for 22 per year. Okay.
Yeah, he was meant to make 24 and 27 the next 2 years. He's not getting that. And his agent can tell him that. He's not getting that. but he might get 22 on a 2-year deal from a team or 17 on a 3-year deal from a team, where if they cut him the 3rd year, there's basically no cap,
his
right?
salary was 17, but there's like a pulled over like dead cap from like
Right.
his signing bonus, whatever. So he is like, 17 or 20, whatever, too, depending on how you think about it.
I would be shocked if he got over 20. I'm thinking he's going to sign somewhere between 15 and 17.
Yeah,
He's going to want
I'm
17.
thinking, and I'm guessing the Packers offered him like 10 or something, and he was like, oh, I can get 15 easy.
My guess is the Packers offered him 12 guaranteed and 4 to 6 on incentives. And he said, nope, give it to me all or give me
ESPN
nothing.
Radio thought they would not even offer more than like 7 guaranteed.
Yeah, I mean, maybe, but I understand what the Packers
just
are
from their
doing.
history of sometimes they do that. Like, look what they did with Aaron Jones, right?
Yeah. So we got a lot of guys to sign. Hopefully we sign Elton Jenkins now or figure out his contract situation and give him like a bit of an extension. And then we'll have some more cap space in next off season. I don't see the Packers trading for anybody. The Packers don't trade for people, folks. Don't start the conversation where who can the Packers trade for? Don't start that conversation. You're just going to hurt yourself. Okay, don't do it. It's not going to happen, guys.
They'll end up paying for some guy you never heard of.
We're not trading for a player. Okay, we're the Green Bay Packers. We are not trading for a player. Get that in your head.
What they'll probably likely do is trade for some guy that makes you pissed that they traded for him.
No, they're not trading for anybody. Name the last player the Packers traded to get that was a starter. That wasn't like their third quarterback. Can you even name one? I can't even think of one.
That's why I'm saying it'll be some like third string
guy in 1991, maybe.
Yeah, it's been a while, and they don't like giving up draft picks and stuff like that. And
I mean, we got tight ends in the Favre and the Holmgren era. We got stuff like that. But like, when's the last time the Packers have traded for a significant player? Like,
they're probably not going to. Okay, so $45 million or so, $48 million in cap space. You think that they're going to use it to give Jenkins some kind of like boost to
I think he's going to get an extension of a year or two because they're moving him to center. He wants to make sure that he's got 2 years left on his contract. So he wants to make sure that his contract, if it's up in 2 years, he doesn't get center money because center money is a lot cheaper than guard money.
So you think they'll extend him and
I think they'll extend him at least another year and maybe add on a year after that of like, some sort of void year or something like that and keep him around 18 million, right? Kind of where he is.
And they'll like front load it so they can put a bunch of it in this year.
I would hope so.
Whatever. Some kind of signing bonus or something.
I really hope Zach Tom gets his bag. Like I would like to see us sign Zach Tom like right now and just say, hey, here's a 4-year contract, 24 million. Sorry, you're going to be injured for the next 4 years because that's what happens to Packers players, but you deserve the money.
And if they do that now and pay them some of it now, they can then roll over a bunch of the extra cap to next year, but they can only do like 11% of their cap or something.
Yeah. I mean, well, it's more than that. They can roll over more than that, but they have to decide. There's a date they have to decide how much they're rolling over. So they can't.
Well, it says that they have to spend at least 89% of the cap on the team or they have to pay that amount to make sure they're 89%. That's why I'm saying 11%. They can, I don't know. That's just what it sounds like.
With the restructure of Jenkins, which is bound to happen, and probably signing Tom and maybe restructuring other contracts, I'm not too worried about it. The Packers are good at the cap, that's for sure. But we're not good at drafting cornerbacks.
At least we're not the Saints.
Yeah, we got one good cornerback drafted in the last 25 years, and we just released him, guys. So
yeah, it's rough.
Well, that's not true. We've drafted a couple good cornerbacks, and we've all said goodbye to them when they were pretty good.
Terrell Buckley,
No, not Terrell Buckley. He was never
King.
He ended up being pretty good with the Dolphins.
Stop bringing up all the stupid Packers cornerback draft picks.
Kool-Aid.
Hey, King's on the Falcons right now, man. These guys are great.
Just because he's in the NFL doesn't mean that they're great.
But T-Buck did do pretty good on the Dolphins. Okay, so that's that. Okay, our final thoughts. I guess let's go back to you, Dave. Dave, what do you think is just pick it. Like pick what is the most likely team you think he's going to go to and how much do you think he's going to get paid?
I'll just I want to hear Carolina. I think I like the idea of the hometown team. He has a history there, but I think he'll just go to Detroit.
Carolina has 18 million cap right now, space. You think maybe he'll go to Detroit? Okay.
Yeah, just go to Detroit.
Do you think he's going to get 17 million?
No, I think the coach will just say, all right, we'll give you 14. Take it or leave it.
So he'll just
You're
have to
honoring.
take that.
Yep.
And a lot of people think he might get a prove it deal. They're like, hey, we'll give you the first year like 14 million. If you can do well, then the next year in the contract you get paid like 22 or something.
Mm-hmm.
Derek, okay, what's your final thought? What team do you think he's going to go to and how much he's going to get paid?
He's going to go to Minnesota. They're giving him 15.5 a year over 2 years. But I would like to see him go to Carolina for 3 years at like 17 million. I think Carolina will offer it to him, but I think he'll ultimately go to contender.
Yeah, people want to definitely cheer from there.
Yeah,
I agree. I think he's going to
to
go to the Vikings, and I think they're going to give him like around the same amount that the Packers gave him, and then it'll be leaked later that that it'll just be a mess.
No, he'll sign for less with Minnesota, but it'll be more guaranteed money than what the Packers were offering.
Maybe more guaranteed, but I think what might happen is they give him a deal that's like not the greatest for him, but then they're like, but we'll give him like a 2-year deal. In the second year, if you stay on the roster, you get paid more, right?
Yeah,
like,
we'll see. I mean, he's going to want, like I said, I think this is his last chance potentially at a big contract. So he's going to want 2 or 3 years, which is why I'm hoping Carolina will give it to him. They've got some more cap space next year, but whenever we release a good player, they go play for the Vikings or the Bears. Let's be honest.
The Vikings have barely got cap space. Let's see what do they have next.
We don't want any more of your crap. It never works out.
Oh, the Vikings are way over the cap next year. Never mind. They might not do that.
Yeah, the Vikings are over the cap next year by a lot.
But you know who's not? The Raiders. Maybe the Raiders pick them up. They don't give an F about nothing.
I mean, the Chargers got a lot of cap space. The Steelers got a lot of cap space.
And the Steelers, he can reunite with Rodgers there. Steelers want defense.
I don't know, man. I just got this bad feeling he's going to be in the division. Maybe Dave's right. Maybe it's the Lions. Maybe it's the Vikings. I just got this bad feeling he's going to be in the division.
And you think he's going to get
Bears don't need
15 million?
No.
All right, I have to agree with Derek. I put $20 on he's going to the Vikings, and they'll probably get like around the same amount the Packers were going to pay him for the first year, maybe a little bit more.
So thanks, Jaire. When you were on the field, you were great. No hard feelings, man. I understand you need your money, and you got to protect yourself and take care of your family. And I understand you want your money, but I also agree with the Packers not paying everything that you wanted.
No one's winning this situation.
No. Yeah, it's sad. It's sad, but
Jaire, I think, was my favorite player on the team, even when he was going through all the craziness. I liked him almost more because you just could see like it was tough. You know, like imagine being an all-pro and you have like 5 injuries and you just can't move like you did before, but you're trying to figure it out. That's got to be just really tough for somebody.
I'll give Jaire this. He gave maybe the best interview I've ever seen from a Green Bay Packer. After he got that interception, I was like, "Oh, right!" I see him over there. Like, dude, that's one of the best interviews I've ever seen. It was so great.
He's a real fun guy, and I have to say that, like, the things you hear from the community and the people around the team and the fans, every interaction he had with them was amazing. He would like run around and like do events with people and just spontaneously have fun with people and do stuff for kids. And he was an amazing member of the team.
Yeah.
And
super glad he was a Green Bay Packer. Sorry he had to go, but it just makes sense and it is what it is.
And he's Goody's first draft pick. But we'll see you later, Jaire.